Let's talk about the 2024 Ford Mustang. Will it be reliable? Can you get your hands on one and know that it's being built with really good quality? Or are you going to be worrying about a variety of issues coming up with this Ford Mustang? And so, if you're out there shopping for 2024 Mustang or a used one or whatever, this is probably a really interesting video for you. So, let's go ahead and get to the details that I found this morning through some different news stories I was reading. Hey, it's Tim. Let's talk cars. And again, this 2024 Ford Mustang. And this questions about quality and build quality kind of get in my head this morning after reading some news stories. I did some research. I went to NHTSA, I went to Car Complaints, I went to Consumer Reports as well to get information about like what's going on with Ford Mustang. Something I want to make sure I know more about and bring the information to you as you're out there becoming an informed consumer. That's the goal, informed consumer. So, looking at the news story, it's on autonews.com. It basically says that Jim Farley and top like Ford executives can hit the road to talk to dealers directly. This is great. Ford CEOs out there, top executives are out there. They're talking to dealers because with trust levels within Ford have plummeted as the company has faced quality woes, pricing's gone up, EV strategy. There's a lot of things going on that dealers are not very happy with, and consumers aren't very happy with as well because dealers are kind of the in between people. They hear a lot from consumers, good and bad, but they just want to look at these, talk to the executives directly on what's going on. So, what looking at here is they want open and honest feedback. One of the guys, OC Welch, says that we're out of step on a lot of stuff. We need to get in step, and we can do that if they want to talk to these executives. So, one of the things they're looking at, dealers are talking about, is they want quality and affordability concerns. He says our quality has gone down as much as our prices have gone up. That has to be addressed. Dealers don't like recalls. Customers don't like recalls. And Ford's led the industry for the last 3 years straight with recalls. Nobody wants that stuff. They want things to be built and sent with good quality. And Eddie Hall the third, who's CEO of the Hall Automotive Group, now he said quality is also one of his top concerns. But he said, when they held the F-150 Lightning, they let it sit for 5 weeks, had a quality issue. He says it's a sign that Ford is trying to make long-term decisions in the best interest of customers. He says it's painful when we don't get vehicles as quickly as we like them, but one of the things is they're doing a job of making sure the vehicles have better quality when they leave the factory. So quality is a huge concern, and dealers want to work on this. So I was like, all right, well, let's go look at Ford Mustang problems. If you don't know the site, it's carcomplaints.com. I use it fair enough amount of times, different websites and things I write for, or the truck website, I should say more specifically these days because I stopped writing for their outlets. But basic thing with with the car complaints, looking at the Ford Mustang, we don't have a lot of data for the last couple of years. There's not really a lot going on. They kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen in the future. A lot of parts on the Ford Mustang get carried over year, even though it's a completely new model. Powertrains get carried over, interior items get carried over, and things don't just get fixed immediately with a new model. So I was kind of looking back on some things, and basically the most people complaining about was older Mustangs with paint issues and corrosion issues. But looking at, like, say, the 2021 model, we can see transmission problems. Now, this is going to become something we'll talk more about in this video because when you look at NHTSA.gov, and I put in like a 2023 model because 2024 is just barely coming out, we see some complaints, we see recalls, and the bottom one's Mustang Mach-E. It doesn't qualify for this video, but because it's electric. But this 25 manufacturing communications. So if you click on these, you'll see a variety of communications, and it comes down to powertrain. Vehicles equipped with the 10R80, which is their 10-speed transmission, may exhibit a harsh delayed engagement, harsh delayed shift, and illuminated manufacturer indicator light lamp problem with diagnostic trouble codes. So this is something the automaker is putting out to communicate to dealers and to let them know this is what's going on. This is how you address the issue, and we know we're aware of it. So this communication. Well, what's interesting is when you go through and you look at equipment here, that's a floor mat shortage. Looking at powertrain on September 21st, we have a whine noise at idle and while driving for the 10-speed transmission. Now that was September. So August, powertrain. There's new update for the transmission, harsh delayed engagement. So they talked about harsh delayed engagement in August 14th, and then November of this year they talked about it again. So that's an ongoing issue with them as well. And if I go all the way back to the first, I think it's this one, powertrain, it's in April 3rd, 2023. It's may exhibit harsh delayed engagement or harsh delayed shift concerns. So transmission, even from April 3rd, all the way. I'm gonna go all the way back. I want to make sure I get the date right on that first one. I believe it was November. But let's go all the way back and look at this. So back to the first page, and it's November 2015. So they've issued TSBs to fix this for months now. And so, looking at Consumer Reports, I can't give you the breakdown information per an agreement I made with Consumer Reports, but I can tell you that they have a recall alert already in the 2024 model, and that the predicted reliability is average. They don't think it's going to do that well versus other vehicles in the segment. They think other vehicles will have better reliability. And that's predicted reliability, which always becomes controversial. It's based on past information, overall the brand, on how the brand ranks, and how past vehicles have performed. And that's from consumers who've sent in the surveys, Consumer Reports. And then looking at the NHTSA information, it really backs that up, right? It backs up transmission. And looking at the car complaints, we can see a transmission issue already in 2021. So what's going on with this transmission? Why is this an issue? I wrote a story up on pickuptrucktalk.com. If you don't know, I run a pretty sizable truck outlet as well as this new car channel I started. And so without a doubt, the 10-speed transmission is the largest issue affecting some 2021 through 2024 Ford F-50 trucks. And this also applies to Ford Mustang because it's the same transmission. Okay. And so the transmission was co-developed by General Motors. Many owners frustrated over harsh shifting. Interestingly enough, the GM version hasn't had nearly as many complaints. So there's something about the Ford software or Ford hardware in this that's causing the issues. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mechanic. You can go find information maybe on a forum somewhere else. I don't have the information. Now, the forum I did use for this F-150 forum, they gave me a lot of details. First of all, we already knew there was a class action lawsuit of transmission. That has been an issue. That people have gone lemon law on the transmission as well, where they sell the truck back to the dealership. Ford basically buys it back because they have so many problem with transmissions. One of the things that I've learned over the years with this transmission is it's a learning transmission, which means it'll learn and adapt to how you drive. And this becomes the crux of the problem, which makes me wonder if the Ford Mustang may have more of this issue because it's a pony car. You want to drive fast, right? And then what happens when you drive fast for a long period of time, for like the first couple weeks, and then you start driving moderately, you may have some harsh shifting because there's adaptive tables. So Purpose Pork said this, which is a great forum name. I clearly adaptive tables with ForeScan. One of the parameters that adaptive tables do is set pressures and detect for slipping under different conditions. The system has picked up an off pressure setting that is allowing the clutches to slip. Clearing the tables may fix that. There's something that tech should do, or after service transmission, it's worth a shot. So clear it, adjust that stuff. The really big deal is reset it and drive calmly on surface streets for about 30 minutes to set initial values. Then over the next 250 to 500 miles, relearn your driving style and adapt to it. Now, I've spoken to many owners who've had this done with different trucks and things, and it does fix their problem. But it also, for some people, it doesn't fix the problem. Some people still have an issue, and that's where they've gone lemon law route. So when I look at the Ford Mustang, I think the engines are going to be fine, right? So you're always going to hear somebody's going to have a problem with a turbo. Somebody's brothers, cousins, uncles going to have a turbo go out, and it's $3,000 to fix a turbo. So a lot of money. I've also heard some issues with a 5-liter V8 as well. There's some you're going to have an engine issue occasionally. That's what I'm going to say. Versus when they sell 200 or they sell 500,000 Ford F-Series trucks with this transmission. Transmission's also in the Ford Bronco. It's in the Ford Mustang. It's in a new Ford Ranger. So the odds are, with that many of the 10-speed transmissions going out, you're going to have some sort of problem with that. With all the engines that are being used, so that Ford has been using the same 2.7, 2.3s, 3-liter, 5-liter V8 in a variety of products. And I think the percentages are pretty low that you're going to have a problem with that engine. Yes, it can happen. I'm not going to argue that at all. Looking at electronics issues, looks like most people are having no issues there. And the sync system has been upgraded, which is their infotainment software, to the point where I think it's more reliable than it has been in years past. So like I said, my concern would be when you get a Ford Mustang, when you buy one, just be a little gentle on the first 250, 500 miles. Don't try to hot dog it. Let the engine break in and let transmission learn your driving habits. And then when you go out and do like a fun race to your buddies or you go to track or whatever, then that'll be the rare time that the transmission will do a little bit different because you need to shift differently and you need to get more power. So that's my advice behind it. It looks like it's going to be fairly reliable compared to other vehicles. And again, it's coming down to transmission. Once the Ford can fix those issues permanently through software, parts, whatever, then I think you'll see Ford's quality rise higher, because I think that's one thing plaguing the company. What do you guys think? Any issues with Ford Mustang I missed? I'm guessing I probably did. And you can comment below. Yeah, that's how that works. Also check out the videos over here on the channel as well. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.